Hi, I'm just back from Chicago, where I attended the annual ADA meeting, and I'm going to try to go through some of the parts of the meeting that I found interesting. Now, in these talks, I'm not going to talk about everything, and there were many other topics discussed. So I apologize in advance for not being able to discuss everything. But I think that there are some things that are clinically very relevant, things that I take home to my practice that I wanted to share with you. But first of all, I wanted to give you an overview. And there were two overview lectures that I thought were really important. The first one was a lecture given by Dr. Venkat Narayan, and he was the recipient of the Distinguished International Service in the Cause of Diabetes Award. And basically what he talked about was diabetes care in low to middle income countries. And this is really important to me because around the world, we're really not providing adequate diabetes care. And in obviously parts of the world in the United States, like where I go to work in East Los Angeles, where patients are under-resourced, we often don't have the kind of resources we need to provide adequate care. So diabetes affects 828 million people globally. The highest global prevalence is found in India with 213 million people with diabetes, then China with 143 million, and the US with 42 million. But those numbers alone are pretty staggering. But what bothers me the most is that half of all the people with diabetes remain untreated. They don't have the ability to treat their diabetes with many of the drugs that I think we tend to take for granted in this country. Diabetes is now the fourth leading cause of disability and the ninth leading cause of death worldwide. All-cause mortality from diabetes has decreased in high-income countries, but we haven't seen that kind of improvement in these low to middle income countries. If you look at the coverage of glucose-lowering medications, they're available in about 50% of the cases in those countries, antihypertensive medicine in 41%, and cholesterol-lowering medication in 7%. Fewer than 1 in 10 people with diabetes in these low to middle income countries receive coverage that is consistent with guideline-based comprehensive diabetes management. So there's a lot of work to be done. And I think that one of the things that Dr. Narayan talked about was the need for early detection and prevention of diabetes, which would help, and also the use of mobile health, because a lot of these countries do have mobile phones. And there was a recent study that was done called the Center for Cardiovascular Risk Reduction in South Asia, where they did see a reduction in a number of variables, including A1C, blood pressure, and LDL cholesterol using this mobile health intervention. Another thing he discussed was the gap in diabetes research, which I see all the time, because there are places where we've really studied different populations. We know a lot about Pima Indians in the United States, but there are also places like in Asia where diabetes is different. And I think we all know, those of us who treat different ethnic populations, that we see varying characteristics of diabetes. Unfortunately, much of the research that has been done is still done in European populations. So even though 85% of diabetes occurs in non-Europeans, only about 3 to 4% of research is done on non-European populations. So when I'm dealing with my population, which is largely Latino in East LA, I realize the limits of what we know, particularly in terms of such diseases as type 1 diabetes in this population, because nobody really knows the types of presentations of type 1 diabetes and what it looks like in terms of risk and prevention in this group. Next, there was the ADA President's Lecture, which was delivered by Dr. Rita Kalyani. She's at Johns Hopkins University, but she's about to be the Chief Medical Officer of the American Diabetes Association. So I think it's really nice to get a sense of her as she moves into the role of leading the ADA. So in her lecture, She looked backward at where we've come, and we've come a very long ways, even in terms of my own career. I started with just starting with finger sticks, and look where we've come since then. But she also talked about the challenges. She too talked about the global prevalence of diabetes. She also talked about the aging diabetes population. As people live longer, they're more likely to get diabetes over time, and managing diabetes in older patients can be complicated. She talked about youth-onset type 2, which is also increasing, and many of these patients don't have the kind of glycemic management we'd like for them to have. She talked about endocrinology deserts and the fact that 2/3 of US counties lack endocrinologists, which basically means that we need to figure out how we can service more counties, more areas as an individual endocrinologist, because there's a lot of need for both endocrinologists, but also all sorts of diabetes educators who I think are very important to helping patients with diabetes in a lot of these areas. She talked about the low uptake of cardio and kidney protective therapies. And I think this is something that really should be adopted more and more in primary care, where most of these patients are taken care of. I know it's possible to do. I know places where this is done actually quite intensively, but I think we need to expand it throughout the country so people are aware of the need to work with some of these newer agents in our population. And then, of course, we have the obesity epidemic in the United States, and we have many people who are overweight or obese and at risk for going on to develop diabetes. And then she talked about our collective future, really looking ahead and looking at all the issues that we have facing us in the near term as well as in the long term. And she talked about all of us working together to try to change how diabetes care is delivered and improve access and help people achieve their outcomes and do better with this disease. So I found both of those lectures inspiring. I'm very excited to have Dr. Kalyani as the new CMO of the American Diabetes Association, and I look forward to working with her in the years to come. Thank you.